Hey guys, I'm back with a card share today. I got a chance to play a little bit. I was actually looking to do some crafting and I didn't really feel like bringing all my stamps out, or I couldn't decide which stamp I wanted to play with. So I decided when I saw my paper pad that I had purchased from My Mind's Eye to play with this in a little bit of a different way. I had purchased this Gingham Foundry cardstock paper pad, and they call it the 62-piece mixed bag. So these are the ephemera pieces. I purchased 2 of the ephemera pieces. So what I did was I took everything out and I sorted through them, and I kind of did some little card fronts because I knew I didn't want to really stamp if I didn't feel like it. And since I had these, I thought, well, let me see if I can put them together to make some really cute card fronts. So here's some that I didn't use because the cards that I made were actually a lot smaller than what these are. These are probably going to have to go on a 4 1/4 by 5.5 card front. That's actually what this is. This is a piece of cardstock cut down to that size because the cards that I actually made were this size. However, I scored them down the middle so you could fold it in half. So the cards that I made were really small cards. They're half the size basically. They are 2 3/4 by 4 1/4. Okay, so 2 3/4 wide by 4 1/4 tall. That's the finished size of the card. But it's basically an A2 size panel scored down the center and folded in half. Some of my cards are horizontal and some of them are vertical like this, and you'll see that. But I want to show you what I outside of the paper pad that I used. This is the paper pad that I actually pulled all my sheets out of, so I do have quite a few still left here, and another pad, and then a couple of scraps. I've tried to use my scraps up. But what I used for the card base is this. I purchased this Paper Tray Ink gold cardstock. It's actually a shimmer cardstock because she had them on sale a couple months back, and they were not $8. They were a lot cheaper than that. I think they were $2 or something in that range. But they are an excellent weight for card bases. Her regular quality, you know, for 100-pound cardstock, I think, or 110-pound. But it's really nice quality for card bases, and it's shimmery. So I don't know if you can see that, but it is shimmery. So that's what I used for my cards. And again, I used the ephemera pack. I didn't use these. I just wanted to show you an example. This was more of an exercise for me to kind of, you know, play with placement and not have to stress too much about stamping and inking and cleaning and all that kind of stuff. So this is kind of like what I did. I kind of laid out all of the different die cuts that were in the pack and tried to match some up with some little card fronts. So that's all I did. I was playing with that. And it was kind of nice. It was nice not to really stress too much about that kind of thing. So let me show you the cards. Oh, this is what I also used. This particular, I guess you could call it cotton lace. I think this is from Michael's, honestly. I don't know because I don't have that thing that usually is around it that tells you where it came from. But I think this is from Michael's from years ago. And then this is May Art's jute twine, and this is what they call, I think linen is the color. But this, I used this. I've got some vintage buttons that I used, and I think that's it. If I come across something, I will tell you. So here are my cards. And they are, I think they're so cute. They're adorable. Some of them have things popped up. So I did create envelopes for them. And this one happens to be vellum. At the end of this video, there is a little tutorial on how I did the envelope. So just keep watching and you will see that. So here's my first card. And with this, I just cut, this was actually one long embellishment piece. I just cut it since it doesn't fit on the card front. And the tags were all cut already. They were part of the ephemera pack. I just added some lace and buttons and twine here. And you'll notice that I didn't stamp anything on the inside because I want to use these for either Happy Mail or different occasions, and I don't want to stamp until I'm ready to use it up. So that's the first card. And if you want to see what it looks like inside of the packaging or the envelope, let me just throw it in there. I did some in vellum because I thought, oh, it would be cute to be able to see through it. And there you go. So that's the first one. Here's the next one. I tried to coordinate the envelopes a little bit. Here's the envelope. And then here's the card. Again, this one has a tag, but it's got a couple of different ephemera pieces on it. See, they have the words on here. Oh, one more thing. I don't know if the camera is picking it up, but there is some shine on here. I have dug through my stash for this, what do they call it? Smooch spritz. I have lots of different sprays that I never use, and I know that Anna White, she uses a lot on her cards. She uses like a glitter spray. I don't have any of that, and I realize I don't need to buy it because I probably have like, I don't know how many of these, but this is the Vanilla Shimmer is what it's called, and it comes in a spray bottle. I doubt I'll ever run out of this because I've had this for years and I've never used it. So to add some shimmer to my cards, I sprayed the front of each one, and I don't know if it's picking it up, but it's there. You can see it when your naked eye is on it, but I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up. So that's the outside. And then I use some of the scraps on the inside of the cards. Here's the next one. I love these little patterns and the colors in this Foundry paper pad. I really love the colors here. Blue is one of my favorite colors. I would never normally use yellow or this mustard yellow, but it's almost like a gold color. So I'm sorry, I'm not in camera when I'm showing you these. Here is the envelope for that one. I just think they turned out so adorable. And like I said, these won't go through the mail just like this. I will probably send them inside of a Happy Mail, so I'm not worried about the size of the card. But it's such a cute size, and it's something different than an A2, so you don't have to come up with, wow, how am I going to fill this card front? Because it naturally happens because they are so small. So here's the coordinating envelope. And then these two are the other direction. These are going to be horizontal. I love the sentiment on this one. And then this last one right here. And here's the envelope for that. So you can see the difference in the color. And there we go. So those are the cards that I created. If you want to see how the envelopes were done, just keep on watching. It's right after this. And thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye. Hey everyone. So thanks for continuing to watch the video. So I thought I'd show you quickly how I put together the envelopes for my cards. And I decided that I was actually going to use the pattern paper as well as the vellum. So the last one I'm going to show you with the vellum because it's probably easier for you to see where the marks are going. So this is the pocket punch board from We Are Memory Keepers. And this is the guide that you get with the tool to pick what size you would like your pocket to be. Now, I had originally tried something where it was 2 3/4 by 4 1/4, but because my cards are dimensional, it doesn't fit. So I had to go a little bit larger. So I went with something that is 3 1/4 by 4 1/2, and that fits perfect. The cards that I have, all of the cards fit in each of their envelopes. And so you just follow the instructions for the pocket board, but pocket punch board. And as with most of their tools, it's pretty easy to use. There's this guide that says D, 2, and that tells you that the numbers there's numbers and letters. This is all letters on this side, and this is all numbers on that side. So you put the pegs in the correct hole where the arrow is pointing down or pointing to the right. So I am in slot D, number 2, as it says right here where my thumb is. And you cut your paper to 7 by 6, and I have done that. And that's part of the reasons why I decided to use the pattern paper, because the pad that I have is 8 by 6. So I don't even have to cut one side. It's already the correct size. So perfect, and it coordinates with my cards. So that's what I want with a flap, because at the top of this column here, you can see it says flap. I wanted a flap. You can do one with just the notch, but I didn't choose that. I wanted the flap. So 7 by 6 is a great size because I have less scrap when I do that. And then you follow the instructions here, which tells you to do, you know, to put the pegs in the right place. And then you're going to take whatever your first dimension. Mine is 7 by 6. So the 7-inch side is going to be across where the numbers are, okay? So if you are using pattern paper, at this point, it doesn't matter which side is facing you, okay? Because you will decide what side you want to be facing outside on the envelope. This side versus what's on the inner, well, that's probably not a good example. That's a wood grain, but like this, for example. You can see flowers versus these leaves. So you will decide that later on when you're doing your creasing. So right now we're just going to cut. So the 7-inch side is this side and the 6-inch side is this side. And that's according to the instructions. And all you got to do is slot this into the track here and then do your cut. And it's really easy. And you want this butted up to both the top and the left peg, okay? And then you're just going to flip the paper and do a mirror image of that same thing on the other side. And we're going to do this 4 times for each side with flap. So I flipped it horizontally. Now I'm going to flip it vertically to do the other flap on the other side. And then I'm going to mirror that. So now we will have 4 corners cut. And if I can hold on to this thing. Okay, that's all the cutting you need to do. Okay? So now here's where you're going to decide, if you were using pattern paper, which side is going to be the outer part of the envelope, right? And which is going to be facing in. And when I say this, it means that you will want the outside of the envelope facing you. So this doesn't matter because this is vellum. But if I wanted something like this pattern, it would be facing like this. So before you do any of your creasing, and it matters because these crease lines are going to go into the folds of the paper, and it will, let's say, weaken the paper if you bend it the wrong way. Okay, it could rip through. So I don't want you to get confused there. You don't need this anymore. All you got to do then is score, and it does have a scoring tool, but I prefer this. This is also by Rear Memory Keepers, one of these tools, and it's like for like flower making. I use this for my scoring. So if I'm using my scoreboard, I always use this. If I use this board, I like to use this because it's metal. Again, you want it butted up onto the left and to the top, and you can kind of see the little crease lines right here, the score lines that you're going to make. So it's got this dotted line. If this was solid paper, you would not be able to see through. That's why I chose the vellum for now, because it's easier. But you can see these 2 dotted lines here. You're going to make 1 line down and 1 line across. And then you're going to turn your paper and do the same thing in the opposite corner. So here's those score lines that I just made. I'm going to again do it to this other corner here. And that's good enough. And then all you have to do is fold. I know your natural inclination is probably to fold it the other direction like that, because that's the way the paper is curling, but that would be incorrect. So I'm going to go because this is vellum, it's a little bit harder to force it into place. If you were using regular paper, it probably would be just fine. It's a lot easier. And then I'm going to use my Teflon bowl folder to crease it really nicely along that fold line. And do the flaps as well. And that's all it's going to take. Now I will also use some score tape, or I should say double-sided tape, because that's what it is, double-sided tape. I don't even know what brand this is, but I use the 1/8 inch because there is a very thin line here, and because you know, I don't want the sticky stuff to come out, I'm using this very thin. And I only use 2 lines of it. I put one at the top edge of the flap that will be on top. And I like this kind because you can tear it. You don't have to use scissors. And then I put some along the bottom edge flap as well. And then we'll just take off the paper so we can stick it down. So you do the long flap first. And yes, I know you can see it. That's fine. And then you do the short flap. And then you have one side open. And then now we have a card. This is the last card I have to fit into here. And I'm actually going to make it so that the front faces the side that doesn't have any of the adhesive, and fit it down in there. So there we go. I'm actually going to turn it around because this piece sticks out. I actually want it to not be at the top, because closing it makes it a little harder. When you don't have the bump there, you can close it just fine. And I'm going to actually create some embellishment to go on these flaps. And there we go. You can see it through the vellum sheets, and that's how I did the envelopes for all of the cards. So thanks for watching, guys, and hopefully I'll be back with some more soon. Thanks for watching. Bye now.